And hello everybody, this is David Cuartillas and I have here with me today Carlos Rodriguez.
Hey, what's up?
So Carlos is the head of support of Arduino and I am co-founder of Arduino, and we're here today at my office for a change. You see a random change of background, really messy as it should be. And we're here today because Carlos had an idea one day and we thought, what if we try it out? So Carlos is looking at things that happen in support, and he's looking at boards that eventually don't make it or make it to people and eventually might not work, even though we test all of the boards at the factory and we make thousands and thousands of boards every day. Some boards might get broken or might just not work, or people might not know how to turn them on randomly, and then they get returned. So he thought, what if
we collect those boards, we can make something out of them. Right now we're working with our distributors on collecting those boards that the customers return and see if we can repair those boards and potentially give them as donations. So that's, I guess, what the plan for today. I try to rescue some of them, right?
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is to look at boards that people send us, and we will try to see whether they can be fixed or they may just work out of the box, and if they work, we'll just give them away. I mean, we'll not give them away today directly. Our plan is to collect a lot of boards and make packages. So if a school says, oh hey, I have 20 students and I need 5 boards, we will just figure out a way to make those boards reach those people. And if you people like this idea, remember you could always email support@arduino.cc. You could donate your old boards. You could send us money for boards. You could suggest places that might need boards. So we're going to be trying to make this as an activity that we're going to be trying to do for having a better and nicer world. So we're going to take a look at stuff. So what do we have here? Let's start by making a recap of everything we have, because we have like a bunch of boards. So this is some of the boards that arrived. You see here, this is a Mega. This actually was on my desk. This doesn't count. There's a bunch of Unos, and we have Unos from different places in the world. So we have a box just down there, and Carlos is looking through the boxes to show. So this is like an Uno from the ones that in the past got all made in China. So there you go, has even Chinese characters. People sometimes ask whether this board is original. Well, this is one of the boards that was made in the last years by, as you know, that or part of the Arduino company that they were working in China. And sometimes when you want to sell stuff in China, it's actually convenient to manufacture in China, just to make it easier for people. So that board was supposed to just be in China, but somehow reached Europe. Here we have a Due, that you see. What else? We have a couple of Arduino Junes as well, and so on. So we're going to be looking at these boards and trying them out with a computer and see if they work or if they don't work, or and so we can do out of them. So you see a June. You see, like, these are some of the things we have here to test. So to be honest, I thought we were gonna get a couple of like Arduino Uno boards, but for real we got like really juicy stuff. So so we're gonna devote 1 hour or a bit more maybe to just test these boards and decide which things could be donated and which couldn't.
Yeah. Also, well, the cool thing is that you can also see the kind of process that we can that we use to rescue these boards. Probably if you have issue with your board at this point, you can actually rescue that. So it will be a really interesting way to reveal some of the processes and some of the like research that we do to check if the boards are working properly or not.
So that's also why it's good to have Carlos here. He's been designing the flows for when a board arrives, to just check whether it's just like a problem with the software or a problem with something else. So we have computers here. I have the LiveCasting computer. That's a Windows computer that always gives me trouble, but it's still here. And then Carlos has there another Linux computer, which almost never fails. So we're gonna be testing all of these boards one by one and checking whether they work. So I think it's gonna be a pretty fun program. So yeah, so Carlos is setting things up. I'm gonna just try to change camera view so you can see. That's Carlos' computer. Woo! And that's when he connects a yellow USB cable to it. And
so let's start with the Chinese version
of the
of the
Arduino Uno.
Arduino Uno. Let's see. So one of the first tests that we use, especially for the Arduino Uno, is to check if the on LED is actually on. So it means that there is power coming in the board, and if we press the reset button, as you can see, the LED on the board blinks twice. That means that the bootloader is inside and is properly working, which that is basically the sign that this microcontroller is working properly. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna press the reset button, and you see it blinks twice. So this is a really good sign. We're gonna try to upload the blink example, which is usually kind of the main test, or it's a really simple sketch. It's kind of bulletproof in one sense. So I'm gonna open my Arduino IDE.
So if I can say something while Carlos is doing this, you see that the TX LED is on all the time. So this means two things, or three things. One possibility is that somebody uploaded the program on the board here that is always sending through the serial port, but not letting time for the board to get signals from the IDE. This happens if you have a really old computer and you put a program that's doing serial print with no delays, and that typically blocks the serial port. That's a very, I would say, a very common thing, but it's a common thing that happens sometimes. The other possibility is that the chip here that makes the conversion USB to serial is one that's broken, or has lost the software, and that could be the case. But the first thing that Carlos has to do is to check whether he gets a USB port registered as a serial port for the board, and he does get a port. So if he's getting a port on his computer, it means that this chip here is not broken. So it looks like most likely the problem is that the chip here has a software that is making use of the transmission pin all the time, not letting the bootloader restart the board. And if you actually attack this problem from a Linux computer, you can fix it most of the times. So
to keep your Arduino IDE in the latest version, or try their online.
So, I mean, today, as you see, we're transmitting live from my office, which is not the same as my shed. When we're at the shed, the connection is flawless. I have like 100 megabits or 250 megabits, sorry, fiber connection. But when we are at the office,
that there is no like communication between the computer and the board, and the computer is trying over and over again.
So always rely on. It's good. Okay, genius. Okay, so we're back. We're back live. So as you know, we are on my mobile phone, so I'm pretty sure the connection will not let us down. It might not give us the full power of the highest resolution, but at least it's gonna run no problem. So we just didn't fix 1 mega, right?
Yeah, I'm connecting another mega, which seems to be working differently. I'm gonna do the test with the reset button, and you see there is these two blinks. So this is a really good sign. So let's try it again with this one. I'm getting a timeout with this one also. So this is a really interesting case, because this could be the chance that the microcontroller of the board is working properly, but the USB connection which is handled by the 60U at Mega
16U2.
16U2, thank you, has some issues. So even though it provides the ID to the computer, because I can see it on my port, it doesn't allow me to upload anything to the board.
So a possibility when something like this happens is that we might just be able to reflashing the software on this one, but that's a longer process. So let's first classify all of the boards. Let's classify them by errors, and then we'll see what we can do. Because if the bootloader works, then this means that the chip here is working fine.
Mm-hmm.
So we should just mark those for. I will just use the post-it of death.
Da-da-da.
So those two are bootloader on the bootloader 16U2.
Yeah, this one, but this one
Is the normal bootloader.
Yeah. There's we're gonna come back with the Unos. There's a bunch of them. So let's try this out. Reset button is dead. So it seems. So let's try again. Try to upload something. It was a really good start. What happened?
Well, we're really lucky the first 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, so far we have one board working, 2 boards, 2 megas that might work because the actual chip works, but the chip that's responsible for the serial connectivity is the one that is not really working. And then we're gonna see how to continue. In the meanwhile, guys, if you are on the chat window on Discord, that as you can see on that corner, upper corner there, no, there, oh damn it, there. You can join us in the Discord channel, and you're welcome to ask any questions right now. We're in the Discord server for Arduino and in the channel called LiveCast. And you're welcome to ask any kind of questions you might have regarding our process here on how we check out the boards.
This Uno, I'm getting program is not responding in the console of the Arduino IDE, and so it's pretty easy to see that there is an issue because when you reset the board, it actually doesn't blink. So it's probably this guy.
The bootloader and this one. But the cool thing is that we know we have a board that is working, so we can do this test. That is basically to replace the ATmega 32.8 and check whether the board works.
Exactly.
Right. So we're gonna just dismount this one, and we get a small screwdriver and change the chip from the one that we made work, just to check that the rest of the board is working fine. Okay. So here we go. We'll just get the screwdriver. So you can typically just bring out the chip, and this is not the best screwdriver for this, but it's the one that I have here. No, actually it's really not working. I'm gonna try with a different one. So you have to make pressure in between the chip and the holder. You manage? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the working one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying with all sorts of weird screwdrivers. Now to the question that Ali is making on the chat, he's asking whether the ATmega 32U4 gets programmed by the time we mount it on the board. The answer is no. We program it at the factory. Also, we have to make a lot of tests on the board, so it's some companies it should be possible to actually get the chips pre-programmed. It makes sense. You save some minutes, but at the same time, you still need to make quality checks. And the way it works at factories, and one day we'll try to make a LiveCast with Federico Anzati, which is responsible for making tests. You make a bed with pins where you put the boards in, and that touches it on the places that are needed for testing. and you first program the bootloaders and then you try things out. So okay, I'm gonna just put in the chip. This is the working processor that we got from the other board, and this is a Blink program that we had from before. As you see, this is the bootloader working, and now Carlos will try to just upload something to it. It worked.
It's there.
I saw it blinking. So if this doesn't work, this means basically that the other chip is the one that's broken. Okay, so if that's the case, well, tough luck. But right now, yeah, that's an attempt to program, and it's not responding.
Yep.
Okay, so if this is not responding, and we saw the RX light was blinking, that means that the computer managed to send something. Then this chip here might be broken. You know, this chip, the 16U4, 16U, I can't speak anymore, 16U2, sorry, might be broken, and this means that it can't really be fixed, because if a pin is broken, the pin is broken. So in the previous ones, the software didn't run, and we still have the doubt whether the bootloader in this chip is the one that got busted. But if a pin, which is the transmission pin, is not working, it might be the soldering, or it might be the actual chip that got broken, and it's much harder to fix. So we will need a microscope and a soldering iron and other things. So we know that we need to remove this chip here, and if you give me the screwdriver, and we put it back on the other board, so we have a board that still works 100%.
Yeah.
So in the meanwhile, Carlos is bringing another Mega to test.
So, okay, this seems promising. Seems like the bootloader is there. There you go, this one is working.
Okay.
And you can see
Woo!
that the LED on the board is blinking. It's gonna change a little bit the program. I'm just gonna give 2 seconds delay when it's high.
So other tests should be made, okay? This is just a primary test to check that everything works, but we should check that all of the pins work, for example.
Exactly.
So those are other tests we need to run, but right now this is just a very quick approach to what doesn't work at all, what works, and so on. So that's one for that one. This one works, this one doesn't work, and this is the chip. So now we have this chip that we rescued from the other board, and this chip might work. We haven't tested, but actually we should have tested it, but because this is the board where we know this chip, the 16U2 chip, TX pin to be precise, is not exactly working, and might be as easy as just checking with the microscope. Actually, I do think that some of the pins are not soldered properly. I mean, at first sight I can see that it's really hard to show on the camera, but some of the pins here on this side of the chip, they don't seem to be, you see, some of them seem to be better soldered than the other ones. So yeah. So on this board, I will just add a post-it note saying that the 16U2 is not working.
Okay, yeah, this one that is working. Ah no, this one I have it here. Sorry. Yeah, there you go.
I need a tool because one of the pins is bent. I have a small mess in this place.
Okay, we can continue with a couple of Unos that we have here. So let's press the reset button. Seems that is not working. Let's try to upload something. So I'm getting with this one also that the programmer is not responding. So it's the same case as before. Could be a matter of the
32.8.
Or also the 16U2. So
we have to take again the chip that works.
Yeah.
And try it again. So it's a process that is very repetitive, but once that it's running, it's running. Okay.
Well, this is another Uno that seems to have a blinking program inside. When I press the reset button, it blinks twice. So this could be a good one. Okay, is also given the programmer not responding. Another option to save these boards is to burn the bootloader again. On this one, the 32.8. Probably we have time. We can show how to.
Yeah, I think we will do it. If we go quick, I think my suggestion is that not to, in order not to make the program endless, what we can do is to just focus on the unos, megas, and so on.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then for a different day we leave the dues and so on, because it's entirely different architecture. So these two were like in the bootloader, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So it's important to just keep track of what you're doing. As you see, I'm taking notes in post-its. Same for each word what we need to check out, just to make sure that we remember what we have to check when we are done with the first batch. Because it's also kind of relevant to just make it quickly, because otherwise this could last forever, you know.
Okay, here's another Uno. Seems to be okay in that matter.
Ooh, the LED is really flaky. It looks like it's actually blinking really fast. It's like the LED is not really strong, so it might be like a classic program with a very small delay.
Yeah, yeah.
So but it's
there you go, it's working.
And perfect. Oh, one more. So this actually what we just saw now is again one of these examples where somebody made a program where they use very small delays, and then probably the board was not responding on, for example, an old Windows 7 computer. This is very, I wouldn't say very common, but this happens sometimes. Then if you have a friend with a Linux computer, they can help you out to make this quick. Another trick is to like press the reset button real quick. Like you press upload in the computer, and when you see that the status bar is making it to the end, then you very quick press reset, so the bootloader kicks in, and you reboot the board. Because this board didn't need any interaction from us. It was like, it worked out of the box. So somebody made a mistake and they couldn't get it to work again, and so on. So basically, yes, 3 boards so far worked out of the box.
Oh, this is the box for it. This is another Uno. I'm pressing the reset button. It's not promising. Let's try here. So yeah, it says programmer not responding. So probably it's also a matter of the bootloader in the 32.8.
You don't have a box?
So again, another Uno. That alarm. Again, nothing happened when I press the reset button.
So for those of you connecting to the livecast right now, if you haven't been here until now, what we are doing today is that we're looking at boards that were sent back to us by some of our resellers. As you know, Arduino sends thousands of boards on a daily basis, and just a few might not work, or people don't get them to work for whatever reason. So today we got about 20 something boards back from a reseller. The obligation for our resellers is to simply send a new board back to the user for whom this board didn't work, or eventually refund the user if they weren't satisfied. You know, 20 something boards from several thousands a day is not that much. So, but anyway, we got those boards back, and we are checking out which ones of those work, and we're gonna send those away for free. I'll actually be personally pay for the shipping, and we will donate the boards to schools or whatever that are in the need. And so the idea here is, if you like this idea, you're welcome to join us by sending an email to support@arduino.cc, and you can send your old boards. You can send them by snail mail. We don't care if it takes a month for them to arrive. We will check them out and send them back to people. You can also eventually donate money to the Arduino website and indicate that you want it to be for donating boards to people. We will just make an effort in making it happen. And if you are in the need for boards, then send us an email, and we will, you know, put you in the list. But please make a case on why you need the boards, you know. Okay, so this one that you tested.
So
here.
the last one, it didn't. Again, the programmer is not responding.
Sure.
And in this one that I have here connected just right now, it's a really interesting case because the IDE doesn't identify the port. In the previous ones, at least the port was visible by the IDE. In this one, I cannot even see it in the IDE menu under the tools menu. So again, this could be an issue of the firmware of this, or of the 16U2, or the bootloader on the 3216.
Well, if you don't identify it, then it's clearly this one.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means that there are certain circumstances, just to make this clear to people, when the software, the original software, the bootloaders on the chips could just get busted. It doesn't mean the board got destroyed. It means that it just doesn't run. It could also have got destroyed by an overcurrent. That's definitely possible. But potentially what would have happened is that somebody, tried to reprogram the board when there was a short circuit, and that forced some weird reboot and deleted the bootloader. We've seen this before. It doesn't mean the board is not working, it means that you need an external programmer to fix the board quickly. And that's the thing that we will try to do later. So that's why we're classifying the boards by which is the kind of error we find, just to see whether we can have a second step with them. So this one is bootloader 16U2. And we're making this as quick as we can, because we really want to make it to a point where we're fixing some of the boards that are not exactly operational.
Okay, this one again, reset, double blinking, seems okay for now. So this one in particular is really interesting. As you can see, when I press the reset button, it blinks twice, which means that the 3216 is working, the 328 is working, but I don't get the board listed under the tools ports menu, which kind of in the first conclusion could be that the 16U2, yeah, sorry, I just get confused, has something with the firmware and is not giving like the proper connection, because this one is the one that manage all the USB connection. So that's the theory for now.
So it's 16U2 again.
Yeah. This one has some yucky liquid. Okay, let's try this Mega.
Yeah, bootloader is there. So far 3 boards worked with no like complex interactions, and with this one 9 aren't working. We have a bunch of Unos. Again, just to give you the funny numbers, there is 5,000 Unos made a day. So this is like the faulty boards for distributor over a course of several months. Okay, just to get an idea.
Okay, this one is working. The blink example is there. Again, I'm gonna modify it a little bit. Gonna stay the LED, the L LED is gonna stay on for 5 seconds, and then gonna go off for 1. There you go. So it is working. So we have a Mega.
This is 4 or 5 boards. Now it's 2 megas, 2 megas and 2 Unos. Yeah.
2 megas and 2 Unos.
So right now we have enough boards to equip small class. With 4 boards, you can totally run a class with 15 students in groups of 3. So people, if you have a class and you need boards, let us know, because we really have enough boards for 1 class.
So again, this one, I press the reset, nothing happened, and I don't get it listed under the tools menu. So same case as before.
Here you go, 16U2 bootloader. So then again, if you guys have ideas on who could benefit from getting boards for a class, please raise up a case. Please consider it like, this is not about convincing a school with a lot of cash about getting boards. They should be convinced by themselves. It's about schools that are convinced, that can afford it, could get these boards donated. And we can ship very inexpensively to anywhere in the world. Oh.
This one actually brings the message.
It's a nice message in the pin 13 is not working. Okay, let's see what that means.
That will be actually really helpful if you return boards
with a post
and you can tell us what it is. It will make the work way easier.
Yeah, just to help you understand, pin 13 is the pin that has the LED connected to the board on the Megas, the Unos, the Leonardos, and so on. Not all of the boards, like the latest boards, don't have the LED on pin 13. They have it on other pins, like the Maker 1006 pin number 6. Yeah. But this one says that pin 13 is not working. Let's see.
Well, this is interesting because the LED is connected to pin 13. Therefore, if it's not working, that pin, when I press the reset button, probably the LED won't work either. But it's identified by the computer.
Yeah, clearly.
And it uploads the program.
It uploads the program, but the LED is not blinking. So let's see whether it is just the LED or is the actual pin not working.
Exactly.
So we can get a normal LED and punch it in, and if the LED that we plug in works, this means that what isn't working really is the soldering of that LED. You know, this might be a interesting thing. you know, the interesting thing with the Arduino Unos, with the chip on the Arduino Unos, on the Megas as well, they are really, really robust microcontrollers, and it's possible to burn one pin but have the rest of the pins working on the board. So if you guys are building a project late at night and you make a mistake and you accidentally connect 7 volts to a pin, you might burn the pin, but you might still have all of the other pins available. Just think about it. The fact that one pin doesn't work, it doesn't mean that the whole board doesn't work. So it will not let you down that easily. So you can always try things out. Oh, well, you can just plug it right away in the yeah. Just put it in between 13 and ground, and yeah, it should be blinking. It's not blinking, so pin 13 is not working. Let's start with pin 12. Let's change that to pin 12. So if this board doesn't have pin 13 working, there is 2 alternatives. One is saying pin 13 isn't working. That's pin 12. Okay. Is that really long?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, 5 seconds. Okay. Try pin 13 again, just to be 100% sure. Now that we know that the LED works fine. So again, if you have a case like this where pin 13 isn't working, you can decide to continue to work with the rest of the board, or just change the microcontroller and just work with the rest of the board. Since we have a bunch of boards where the 16U2 might not work, this board is a candidate to just change this chip and get everything to work. So that's that's a possibility. So pin 13 is confirmed not to work. That's good. So this is a very easy fix. So we just post it outside. We don't need
to use more.
Okay, great. So we go on, and as you see, it is not that hard to make this first test. And this is what, if you are a teacher watching this live cast, you know, if your board isn't working, or the students tell you this board isn't working, this is the first thing you should do. First, check the power works. Second, check the bootloader works. Third, check that the pins are working. So somebody might say the bootloader is not working, but in the IDE you can see that the thing worked fine. So what didn't work was the final upload, or the upload worked, but the LED didn't work. So you can have these different cases, and you need to like be able of discriminating which case you're in front of. So we have another Uno.
This is working. Again, press the reset button, it blinks twice, and I try to upload the program of the 5 seconds. And then 5 seconds on and 1 second off. So we have another one.
Okay, there you go, one more board. So far we have 3 Unos working fine, 2 Megas working fine, and 1 Uno where 1 pin isn't working. So we're slowly reaching 2 classes, 2 small classes, or 1 large class.
Well, please be more descriptive on the notes.
Not working.
Okay,
we know that, and it is actually glued with a chewing gum. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, reset isn't working. Yeah, probably.
Not listed.
Yeah, probably probably everything is like gone, bootloader and everything. So the 16U2 is not working, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this board might have the issue that both bootloaders aren't working, or both chips got busted.
No.
No? Wow, you really have a lot.
Yeah.
It seems, I mean, when we opened the box the first time, it didn't seem like there was so much, but this one, well, this one is so well packaged, I would say it's new. You know, it's like somebody managed to unstick the sticker without damaging it, so the box is completely untouched. It's like looks good as new. So here we go, and you can reset the board, no problem. You see, reset the board, no problem. It's found. Is it
Yeah.
found? Okay. I think I have the suspicion this one's gonna work.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, another one working. So here you go. It was this one, yeah? Yeah, the perfect packaging. Becoming a pretty successful activity. Please, distributors, never look at boards, just send them back to us. We want to be sending things back to people for free. This basically means somebody paid for it, it was returned, and it's kind of like refurbished now.
Yeah.
Officially refurbished. Yeah. Here we go. Wow, this one comes with extra packaging inside the packaging. I'm pretty sure that packaging is not ours. Anyway, so the board seems to reset fine. Yeah, and it's found.
No,
It's not found. Okay, so this one has like no 16U2 bootloader failing. Okay.
I'll have another one here. It's another Uno. Nothing happened when I press reset. And it's not listed under the tool menu. So
16U2
yeah.
plus bootloader. Here, that's supposed to. This one is also done. But this was its box. Well, doesn't matter, right?
You're confused.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter the box at this point because we are the ones fixing them. So another one. So this one, as you see, the bootloader works again. I can reset it, and then has to be listed. It's listed, and we assign the new program. It's been programmed.
Yep. It works.
So working okay. One more. And there you go. One more board. It's gonna be sent to somebody. So which status?
So 5 Unos and 2 Megas.
5 Uno plus 2 Mega. Working okay. 1 Uno with broken pin. Rest busted for now. This one is also okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The bootloader works. That's
The
the first
bootloader
thing.
works. This one has probably a little bit of problem with the bootloader. Probably a refreshing, fresh install of the bootloader will fix it. I mean, is working.
Can you try to upload again? No, it's like the bootloader works. Response. Yeah. Yeah, it has a verification error. So yeah, new bootloader. Okay. One more board. Here you go. So I'm just gonna check the statistics. Wow, we're up to 13 viewers now. Woo! This is like a marathon, giving away boards. This is stage 1 of giving away boards. Is stage where we actually test the boards to make sure we have something to give away. In the meanwhile, I can tell you some fun facts. Today I was checking Alexa's ranking for websites, and I always say that Arduino's website number 2300. Well, people, today Arduino's website 2157. According to Alexa's rank, we're actually going up, so that's pretty cool. So thank you all that are using the Arduino website, but that's making our website more and more relevant on the internet, which means we can continue to support it at free, which is what we want in the long run. So
Okay, I guess
I think we're done.
Yeah, with the Uno.
So as we said, we have all the boards. We have Junes and we have Duets, but we're not going to test them today because otherwise the LiveCast will become endless, because there's a different process for these boards because they have a different architecture. So now we have a bunch of Unos that are working, so we will not touch those. And we have a bunch of UNOs where we know the bootloader works, but the 16U2 bootloader doesn't work. So we're gonna see if we can fix those. And there is different ways how you can fix those. There is an alternative, and that will require using an Arduino Uno board as an ISP. There's another alternative that could be done by using an external programmer. And you know, for the sake of time, we're gonna use an external programmer.
That I'm gonna bring.
That Carlos forgot to bring. It's okay. So basically, I will just in the meanwhile explain what we're gonna do. So when you work with Arduino, maybe I can use the top camera and a paper and a pen and show you the idea. Let me just use the top camera here, and let me just bring in a paper. Here it is, paper, and I will just get a marker from here. So you remember the Arduino Uno, which is the main board we're fixing today because it's the one we got. This is a USB port, and it has two chips. One is here and one is here. You might have an Uno SMD, so that this chip will be smaller, but the same idea. So this one is a 16U2, and is responsible for the serial to USB conversion. And this one is the one that you program. That is the one that's run. It's a 32.8, and it's basically one that runs your software or firmware, as we should call it. Okay, so there is a bunch of pins on two sides on the board. There is an array of pins here. Let's call in-chip serial programmer, ISCP, and there is another one here. And those are needed to reprogram either this chip or this chip. With an external programmer, which is a device, as a box that has a cable that allows you to connect it either here or here, it's possible to change the software for each one of the chips separately. And the Arduino IDE offers you the option to change the software for this chip very easily. This one is a bit more complicated, but we're gonna see if we can fix it quickly today. Okay, so the idea is to see how it's possible with an external programmer to do this. Eventually you could change the external programmer for another Arduino board, and by rewiring the boards, you know, program them quickly. The problem is that then we need to be like unplugging 6 connectors and replugging 6 connectors every time. Well, if we use a programmer that Carlos is going to bring in now on the camera, it goes a lot faster. So that's how it looks like. This is a programmer. This is the official AVR programmer. There is other programmers. At Arduino we make one that's called the Arduino ISP. Adafruit makes another one called USB ISP, and etc. etc. I could go on. But basically the idea is that you connect this one to the board like this. You plug the board by USB, and you plug the programmer out to USB as well, and then you can just change the software on this board. So this is one of those that has like the bootloader problem.
Yeah.
Okay, genius. So we need a second USB cable, right?
Yeah.
To power up the board. There is there on the shelf. No, up, yep, there. This is a very messy room, but we know where things are. So so next step is going to be connecting the board, because the board needs to be powered when you want to play around with it. So it's very easy. If in your computer you have 2 USB ports, in one of them you plug in the programmer, and in the other one you plug in the Arduino board. From the IDE you can say reflash bootloader. If you have chosen the right board, it works. So I'm gonna just show you for a second on my IDE here what that Carlos is gonna be doing. So on the one hand he has the board here, and he will select Arduino Uno. You see? On the other hand, he will select which is the programmer, and it's the AVR ISP MK2. This is the name of this programmer. As you see, there is many other programmers you can use. Okay, and in my software, oh, you don't see this because I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself again, because I tend to forget that that I need to show you this one, desktop from camera. See, in this one you can totally see the actual menu. There you see the menu. And this one that says Quemar bootloader, which means burn the bootloader, is the one that is responsible for sending the bootloader down to the board. Okay, So Carlos is going to try this out.
Yep.
And in Linux, sometimes you need to reboot your IDE as a super user. I guess that's what you did.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And that's because you need super user rights to use the external programmer in Linux. So basically, instead of running Arduino, you just call sudo Arduino and punch in your password, and that's it. So
there you go.
You have everything
That
planned.
was exactly what I did.
Yeah, and let me just look at that. And so there it is. So if everything works fine with the programmer, the light will shine green. If there is a mistake, like it can't identify the chip, the light will shine red. And while it's trying to do something, it goes orange. So if everything is fine now, he's gonna do it now. Okay.
Do it now.
Okay. You see, that's in the process. So right now it's trying to burn the bootloader.
And it did it.
And it's done. It was super fast.
So
and if the board was fine, you can just press reset, and you see it blinks.
So we're gonna select this guy.
Now we try to send a program. And
yeah, I'm gonna.
And there you go. Blink.
There you go.
Bingo! One more board. So we change the status in the post-it from whoops, not need bootloader to working. There you go. So one more board. There you go. So you see the process is pretty straightforward, and if you learn how to do it, you can by yourself do this. Then yeah, as Ali says in the chat, as I said earlier, it is possible to use another Arduino board as an external programmer, and there is documentation on the Arduino website on how to do this. You know, even though it's possible, as I said, for this program, we're going to be using this one because it goes faster. You know, it's like, okay, so here we go, one more board, we plug it in, plug into the programmer, give it power, and burn bootloader. That's being done down there. Error. Okay, this might not work. No, try again. Now it worked. No, error while burning bootloader. Yeah, I mean, might be an error with the chip. You know, it's not always like a happy ending. But the bootloader is giving us a green light, so no. Okay, so in this one, what we will do, the next step is going to be change chip. Okay, I will just add it here. So the next step in the process, change the chip. There you go. Change to the 2.8. So now we're going to try with the Mega. The process is exactly the same, just in the menu, instead of choosing Arduino Uno, you have to choose Arduino Mega. And then the IDE knows where to find the actual bootloader file and use it. We're not going to enter to discuss this right now, but the Arduino IDE allows you to have a very nicely structured set of folders where you put the basic firmware for the boards, and where you can just put the pre-compiled version of a bootloader so that the system will find it and use it. So Carlos was just reprogramming this and is trying to check whether the program runs blink, and it's timing out. Try again.
What is wrong with you? So yeah, it's probably this one instead of this one.
Yeah. So again, this chip identifies the board. We change the bootloader here, but if this one identifies the board, but then it can send to this one, something's wrong with this one. What is? There it is. Well, it could be a pin that is faultily soldered. Because when this is programmed in the factory, things are tested out, but you know, well, actually there's a thing we can do. There's a test, there is an old school test, and it is to press this chip down when you try to program.
Old school.
There you go. Let's see if that works.
Do it?
Yeah, I'm pushing down.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
No, it's timing out. It's too slow. So
Let me try one more thing.
So if this fails, I would recommend to do two things. One of them is burning the bootloader for the 16U2, and if that doesn't work, then I would recommend checking the connections with a microscope. You know, just to see. That's the last thing. And if that doesn't work, then it means that this board is completely busted. As you see, you have to figure out the process that's very mechanic on how you check boards. Otherwise, it will take forever. You know, you have to like then reclassify them and just follow a nice process. You can burn
Oh,
the
yeah,
bootloader
I don't know. Wait, I don't know what I'm doing. Give me a second. Yeah.
Timing out. Okay. So yeah, it's actually says here bootloader 16U2. So this we had from before. So we're gonna keep that test in the list.
I was just like one shot, you know.
Yeah.
So this check bootloader.
Yeah. Here we go.
So I'm gonna open the Arduino IDE again.
Super user. It's looking really nice. We already have a full class, fully equipped. Because you know finding USB cables is very easy. You can buy them for €1. I've been finding them like in Mexico City and like weirdest places. So you know it's the board is always the most intricate part to get. And we see something weird here. Yeah, error while burning bootloader. You see the light is flashing red. You see this is what I meant? If there's an error, the light is gonna be flashing red. So this means probably the chip is not working. But we can try once more. No, let's unplug and replug. Sometimes the bootloader, so the programmer also gets stuck. So you need to, you know, do something like this. Replug everything from scratch. Because you saw that it got stuck on the blinking red light. Now identifies the board again, and we can try once more. No.
Nope.
Okay, so we know this board has problems with the chip, so if you have the box for this one, we just add here replace chip.
There you go, just another Uno. Oh, so close.
Well, right now we are actually trying to burn the bootloader on a fast process. It's actually possible to do the same procedure at a slower pace. Okay, right now this programmer is programmed to go super fast. It takes 1 second to burn the bootloader. It's actually possible to reprogram it to go much slower. We're not gonna look at this today because we proved that the bootloader works, the programmer works. So, but basically everything that what I'm writing change 32.8, we could still make a test on how to make a program run at a much lower pace.
I guess here it says novel bootloader. I don't understand.
Normal bootloader.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the normal bootloader that we have to check out because the 60U2 seems to be working fine.
Awesome. This Mega is working. The bootloader is in the board again.
Okay.
So let's try it out. I'm just going to change here.
So then when you burn the bootloader, by default, the board starts with the Blink program. Because we made a mashup of both programs together. The bootloader that just takes a part of the memory, and the other part takes the rest of the memory. So by default, you get the normal Blink. So if you want to check whether the board works, it's a good idea to just add a different program, make a change.
So I'm getting a timeout. So
Timeout.
it's probably
16. Yeah.
So here there's an Uno, it's a check bootloader.
So you will wonder why there are some boards that have this issue where we just basically have to check the bootloader and all of a sudden just works. And basically what happens is that the Uno board the chip on the Uno board, as I said, might lose the bootloader if you underpower it, or if you, for example, have a motor running on a pin using the transistor and powering up from the same place with the battery as you power up the rest, you might just produce like it's called a brownout, not burnout, but brownout, and then just like lose the bootloader on the chip. I think this box doesn't correspond. I'm just trying to push this thing in this box. I think it is one of the larger mega boxes. Yeah. I'm just like trying to push this board in here and it's destroying the box. Yeah. Totally, this is a slightly larger box. It's one of the older boxes.
Okay, this one says that the bootloader is done. So let's try to upload something.
Again, so as I said earlier, for those of you that just connected to the streaming, what we are doing today is to check boards that got returned by a distributor, not a distributor, and fix them as much as we can very quickly, just to consider refurbished boards and be able to donate them to schools. We have so far tested a bunch of boards, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Unos and 2 Megas that are working perfectly. So this is enough material to probably donate to 2 schools. It's pretty good as an outcome for right now 1 hour of work. We have another bunch of boards where we at least have a hint of what's wrong with them, which means with some more time we can fix them. We will not fix everything today. We will just some other time, mainly because, by the way, tomorrow is a holiday in Sweden.
Yeah.
We should get going because we need to fix stuff for the holiday. It's a really big, it's a traditional middle of the summer celebration. Considering that it's raining, probably it's the end of the summer celebration. So, but the idea is that you can do the same things we're doing here for, in your case, if you want to check whether your boards work. It's a very common thing for teachers to have to check out whether things work. That one didn't work out?
Yeah, this one, the bootloader is in, the process of burning the bootloader worked. You can tell by the LED, but when I try to program it, it says that the programmer is not responding.
Okay, so if you remember, we have one board that had pin 13 failing, so we can probably rescue one of these chips from the board where we know the programmer works, and replace that one in the board where pin 13 was failing and have a fully functional board. But we're not going to do that now. Just going to continue to classify the boards to know what fails, and at the end we will have some completely defective boards. We will not be able to do much about it without having to unsolder and resolder, which is pretty cumbersome. But besides that, we already had some success, which is pretty good. Okay, so this one has a bootloader fine. So we're gonna right here 16U2 bootloader, which is the next test to do. So again, it might be the case that sometimes somebody tests a board and the computer is not responding properly that day, the drivers aren't fine, they did an overcurrent on a USB, and the USB blocked the use of the actual USB for a while until you reboot the computer. These are many circumstances that can happen, and the board might just be working fine. And it happened. 3 of the boards we took were working fine out of the box, but then we managed to rescue another 5 so far by having very small interaction with them. So just keep this in mind when you think your board isn't working. Maybe your board is working, and it requires a bit of love from your side.
All the others are related with the 16 users.
Okay. So, and we have like no more Unos in the box, right? No more Megas. The whole rest is like we have some Junes and yeah. Okay. So this is what we had for the day. It was pretty cool. We have rescued a whole pile of boards. Just bring it up, yeah, because it's pretty cool to see. Let's just get the front camera so we can see this a bit more clear, like here.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Unos and 2 Megas. Yay!
So this is pretty cool. So we have enough equipment to give away to probably 2 schools. Plus we have a lot of boards down there that with a little bit more work will actually allow us to do some more. So please, as I said, if you want to donate your equipment, send an email to support@arduino.cc. They will tell you how to proceed with this. If you're a distributor, you're watching this video, you know, if you send us your defective boards, and Carlos and the support team will be reminding you to send us your defective boards so we can make something out of them. We will checking them out this way, and we will send them out to people. If you're a school in the need for boards, again, email us and we'll add you to a list, and as soon as we have enough boards, we'll send them to you. If you think a school should have them and they don't know about Arduino and they can't afford it, let us know. They will just get a priority in our list. And if you like Arduino in general, the Arduino LiveCast, please subscribe. There's a button somewhere down here on YouTube for you to subscribe. And you know, if you would like to continue talking about Arduino, there is different mechanisms. If you are like in a rush and you need to talk to somebody right now, we have a chat on Discord. The link is up there. There's people connected 24/7, people in different languages that are already connected there. We have over 330 users right now, which is very nice. If you have a bit more time, we have a forum with 580,000 users where you can ask questions. So go to arduino.cc, go to the community link, use the forum, and ask whatever question you have. There is thousands and thousands of people willing to help you out with your project. So thank you very much for watching. This is Carlos and David from Malmö, Sweden. We'll see you soon. Most likely we're gonna shut off the LiveCast officially until after the summer.
Yep.
Because now it's summer, but it's winter, but it's summer.
That's how it is.
And this means that we will be off until the first week of August. I might make some random maker shed LiveCasts while I'm fixing things, but besides that, there will be no official Thursday LiveCasts, but there will be other LiveCasts because we like to stream, and that's a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and see you all on the internet.
Bye.
Bye.